Here's a quick video tutorial for you to follow along if you're using a Canon Pro 1000, 2000 or 4000 to set up custom media types. Thanks to PhotoSpeed for the profiles used during the video. It's quite a useful feature that I found a big advantage when I've been printing recently. Once you start printing with a variety of papers, it's easy to pick the wrong profile or the wrong paper base and things like that. So what I've now got in my media list are custom paper types here. So I've named these and embedded the ICC profiles into them, and also that this list updates on the LCD panel of the printer itself as well. One of the things that I'm sure we've all done at some point or other when printing on a smooth pearl paper, for example, is forgotten whether we used a pro luster or whether we used a semi-gloss to base ourselves on. So just having it all set up properly can minimize any risk of wasting paper or having inaccurate colors and things like that. So to get to the media configuration tool, assuming you've downloaded it and installed everything when you set the driver up, this quick utility toolbox gives you a quick way of getting in. So this is what the media configuration tool looks like, and I've downloaded in advance from the Canon website here the media information file. You can just connect to the internet and it'll automatically do it, but I find it quicker just to have it on the desktop in case you need to redo this, because each time you open the media configuration tool it wants to check, so it's easier really just to download it. So that's what this is on the desktop here. So the configuration tool will now talk to the printer and find out what custom papers are already listed. The one I'm gonna set up is a platinum baryta paper. So that's gonna be using so I'm gonna click check later for this. So now, anyway, here we go. So we're ready to go. You can see here the papers on the right hand side are the ones that I've set up. I've deleted some of the other ones that I'm never going to use. So if I click a custom paper now, this isn't where it wants to check to see the base paper types from that list. So I'm going to do this manually by pointing it at the file for the sake of the video, just in case the internet connection's a bit slow. So here we go, that's now going to load the paper types from that folder there into here. So initially what we'll want to do is we'll want to pick a paper type that roughly resembles what we're after. So this photo papers are as you can see, the ones that are with the photo black ink, and the ones in the fine art papers will be the ones that are using the matte black ink set. And in here you've got a couple of options that also have the chroma optimizer switched off as well. So I'm going to pick a heavy photo paper here for the platinum baryta, and then I'm going to click next and confirm. And then I'm going to customize the display name for the menu. So this is going to be FS for PhotoSpeed, Platinum baryta, the same in here. And then confirm. This will now look for the printer again on the network. This does work over USB as well, so it doesn't really matter how you're connected, it just goes through the motions of trying. I think in a studio environment you might have a whole list of printers here and you can update them all from one console. So anyway, we'll now push this information up onto the printer and we should see that work. The LCD display on the printer would sort of flash at the time doing this, but anyway, that's all done now. So now we want to configure this slightly more. If we were printing if this was a roll-fed printer, we'd have the option here to set the core size of the paper. So some canvases, for example, come on a 2-inch core, and most of the papers, I think, are on a 3.5-inch core. So you have those options in there. And you also have the option here to set the height of the head. So I know this is a fairly heavy paper, so I'm just going to set this as a high head height, and it will save the head sort of clipping the edge of the paper at all. And now the ICC profile here, I'm going to point to my profiles on the desktop, and it's that one. That's actually the one for the Pro 2000, but I'll have to swap this over and edit this a bit later on. It was just what I had to hand. So now I'm going to update again, and this will now upload the ICC profile as well. So from the media configuration tool point of view, that's more or less it. So this is actually doing that now. There we go, so that's confirmed now. We don't want to save that as a file. The only other thing you might want to do in here is to sort of change the order of your papers depending on how much you use your papers, I guess. Each time you make a change in here, you need to press this button here to actually push that information back up to the printer itself. And this list of papers is what's available on the LCD screen as well under the custom setting. So it might just make it easier for you to sort of set it up how you want it really. So as far as this side of things, that's done now, so we can close this and quit here. Now what we do need to do is to download that media information from the printer itself down into the menus, because at the moment we haven't got those into the system menus. So that's quite a quick process, and you can just do this at the end. You don't need to do this sort of each time you do each individual type. You can do all of your media configuration tool stuff first and then download all this in one go. So on the Mac we go into printers and scanners. It's very similar on the PC as well. So we just go into settings here and then into the utility, open the printer utility, and on this drop down here we've got media information. So we'll now press this button and authorize it, and this will check the media information on the printer and pull them down into all of our operating system menus. On the Mac this asks for a password. I'm not sure whether it will on a PC or not. So this doesn't take long at all. But if you skip this stage, you won't have your paper types in Lightroom, or Photoshop. So if we go back into Lightroom now, we've probably got to quit that and relaunch it, I would imagine. So if we go back into Lightroom now, what we will have, if we go into print settings, down in here in quality and media now, in custom we should have Platinum Baryta. There we go. So that's there now. So I'm going to set that, and then in the print module of Lightroom, I'm going to say color management is managed by printer, because if we've got that custom media type selected there, the printer knows that which ICC profile to use. So all I've got to do in here really is do my print sharpening, and that's really it. So it just saves a lot of this. You know, you could have the correct paper type in here and then have the wrong ICC profile selected in here, for example. So I think this is one of the huge advantages of the Canon. It's really saved, you know, the odd accidental thing. I'm sure everybody's done it at some point or another, but it'll make life a lot easier and hopefully actually save you some money as well. So I hope that's been useful. Thanks a lot for watching.